To me, tattooing is an opportunity to bring more personality to the way that you present yourself. Each tattoo that you get doesn't always have to have a meaning behind it, but everything always has a story behind it, and it's almost like you get to archive your life through this artwork that you decorate your body with. My name is Kajal. I'm visiting India from Calgary, Alberta in Canada. I'm visiting my sister. And for work, I am a user experience designer, and I also am a dancer. Growing up in Calgary, it was very challenging. Some people say that Calgary is like the Texas of Canada, in that it's very conservative. And so there was always a clash between the person that I was at home and the person that I was supposed to be when I would leave the home. And it took me a long time to learn how to merge those two things together. I think they called us third culture kids for that reason, because you have one culture at home, another culture outside of the house, and then inside of you, because you're merging these, you're almost creating a third culture for yourself. I was 16 when I got my first tattoo. Somehow I got my parents to sign for it. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. It is the starting of the peacock that I have on my back. I also have my sister's names underneath it, and the way that the peacock is placed is that the head of the peacock is kind of looking over the names. And so when I explained it to my parents, and it is true, it was symbolic of my mom looking over her kids. So my mom, her name is Kokila, and ever since she was a young girl, she was always very fascinated with singing. And so during Navratri, she always sings Garba at the main events. And so for her, I wanted to get a peacock. And when I was younger, I counted once, and I think my dad had like 60 elephant figurines and statues and paintings. He's obsessed. It's his favorite animal. So I always associated him with elephants because that's his favorite animal. And so I got those two pieces together as kind of a, symbolic gesture to represent my parents as well. Some of the other tattoos that I have I have an airplane with a heart on my wrist, as well as a lotus. These two I got matching with my sister. The plane because she lives in India, I live in Canada, and so we're just a plane ride away from each other. And the lotus is just symbolic because it feels more kind of related to our connection to our religion and our culture. I also have another tattoo on my arm that just says, "And that's okay," and that's okay. No matter what you're going through in life, no matter what stage you're in, ups, downs, it's all going to be okay. A lot of the tattoos that I've had done, actually all of the tattoos that I've had done so far have been by Western Canadian men. And I wanted someone to tattoo me that I could relate to as well. So having a woman tattoo me, but then B, getting an Indian woman to tattoo me. And the person who tattooed me today is also Rajasthani. So I'm Gujarati. I feel like we're, culturally cousins. And so I felt very connected to not only the art, but also the person who is performing that for me. So for the tattoos that I got today, the first one is of Pothos Vines wrapping around my ribcage. A few years ago, actually, my mother had gifted me a pothos plant. So it's grown quite a bit, and I've adopted other plants since, but I've always felt really connected to that specific plant. No matter what I've gone through, I always talk to my plants. If I'm feeling, anxious or anything like that throughout my day, sometimes I'll quite literally just sit with my plants and have a conversation with them about what's going on, or asking them how they are, or if they're thirsty or need water. I know that sounds a little silly, but I think that they have energy in them, and you can connect with them in that way. And so I've done a lot of growing since I've received that plant, just as much as that plant itself has grown. And so this is kind of a representation of that pothos plant that I have at home as well. The second piece that I got done are kind of decals on top, and this is inspired by traditional Rajasthani and Gujarati trajva tattoos. And so I, again, wanted to represent something that was close to my heritage, close to my culture. And I thought this would be a really nice way to pay homage to that tradition. So I'm Gujarati and Sakshi is Rajasthani. And so she really understood that idea of wanting to get trajvas and like the original traditional kind of tattoo style from our culture. And so it felt very natural getting this work done from her. And she knew exactly what I wanted without me having to explain too much. I showed a couple of reference photos and the way that she sketched everything just worked so well. When I first came into the studio, I was actually meeting with other artists. I didn't get to work with or meet with Sakshi directly. The first time that I met Sakshi was actually yesterday during our first appointment. It's funny because you'd think that you would go with someone that you've met at least once instead of just going in blind. But I had the opportunity to look at her portfolio online, and it was quite extensive, and the artwork that she had displayed was so beautiful. I was just so attracted to the way that she did her art that without even meeting her, I was like, no, I know that this is the person that I want to work with, and I did not make the wrong choice. I was very happy with what I got. So the tattoos that I have, I think, give me an opportunity to express who I am on the inside, on the outside. So oftentimes when I meet people for the first time or when I walk into a room, if my tattoos aren't very visible, people perceive me as being very soft and sweet and calm and kind, which I am those things. But then when they see my tattoos, they get to see a version of me that's more bold, a version of me that's very confident and isn't afraid to just project who they are on the outside in a very loud way. And that's also who I am. So I think sometimes people might underestimate me or think of me in a certain way. And I think having my art being shown in the way that I like to do it really gives an opportunity to have that contrast of someone who's very kind and sweet and gentle, but also very powerful and bold. I think that it's a great way to express yourself. I think it's a great way to show parts of your story and your personality and who you are on the outside. There's so many different artists out there that do so many different styles, and there's just so much talent out there. And being able to connect with an artist in that way and build that relationship through art, I think is a really special experience to have. And so if you're considering getting a tattoo, I'd say find someone that you really like working with. Think about the piece that you want to get before you get it. Don't just get things on a whim. Like, really consider what you want, because you will have it on your body for the rest of your life. And partner with someone that you vibe with, that you think you have good energy with, and go for it.